Welcome to the Insights Capsule. The company featured this month is Applied Materials. Let me start with a brief introduction on this Insights Capsule. The Insights Capsule is a recent addition to my long-standing monthly business e-newsletter, the Semiconductor Business Insight. And this e-newsletter has got a special focus on Asia Pacific. For the capsule, I pick up a semiconductor company in each edition and share some interesting data sets on the investments made, some adjacencies ventured into, mergers and acquisition, funding, some interesting news snippets about that company. These data sets, along with the gleaned insights from it, coupled with some more market research and analysis, as well as some primary research, they help towards the making of my technology and market intelligence report. And these reports is a part of the service offering from my company, VLSI Consultancy. So with this snippet, I just wanted to give you a peek into some of this intelligence. So starting off with Applied Materials, let me start with sharing with you some organization highlights. Now, as we all know, traditionally, the semiconductor business has a cyclical nature. So it has got its 4 years of the crest and the trough. Now, over a period of time, the cyclic nature of the semiconductor industry is getting more and more impacted or affected by the macroeconomic conditions. And in this, Applied Materials has tried further to diversify its business. In this diversification, there are two major components as far as Applied Materials is concerned, or its focus is there. The first one is that it is moving from a lithography-based scaling to a materials-enabled scaling. And the second one is it is focusing more and more towards OLED. So it is going more from the LCD towards the OLEDs, or the organic light emitting diodes. In fact, early this year in February, Applied Materials CEO Gary Dickerson had told the analysts during one of the earnings conference calls that the company is growing beyond semiconductor. To quote him, "It is clear that the industry is becoming highly dependent on materials innovation, especially as they introduce new technologies like OLED. And this plays to our strengths and significantly expands the market." And in fact, OLED has expanded Applied Materials' total addressable market by a factor of 3. So in fact, if you look at it, the OLED equipment has accounted for around 17% of the new orders for Applied Materials. There has been an organizational structuring, and the silicon systems segment is now named as the semiconductor systems. The display segment is now named as display and adjacent markets, and there are a couple of other changes there. Getting on to the next slide, which shows following of the market and the adjacencies. Now, in September this year, Applied Materials had outlined its strategy, and in it mentioned about that the major transition has been from the lithography-based scaling to the materials-enabled scaling, as what I had mentioned in my earlier slide also. Now, this transition has increased Applied's addressable opportunity from a 53% of the wafer fab equipment spending in the calendar year 2012 to what is estimated to be a 63% this year. And Applied Materials is also venturing into new technologies like material scalings and the virtual reality hardware, etc. And in fact, I would go ahead and say that Applied Materials is going to adopt and leverage a lot from artificial intelligence. And in fact, it is going to be one of the biggest semiconductor companies which is which is going to leverage or adopt this artificial intelligence. In the display, Applied Materials sees the display industry shifting from the LCD to the OLED. And in terms of packaging, in September this year, Applied Materials announced a 5-year extension of its research collaboration at the Center of Excellence in Advanced Packaging in Singapore, along with Singapore's R&D entity, A-STAR. And the institute is the Institute of Microelectronics. The joint R&D is said to meet the growing demand for the use of the fan-out multi-die packaging in the mobile devices. In fact, this research collaboration between Applied Materials and A-STAR's IME, is a very good example in Singapore, is a very good example of a public-private partnership, and it is kind of portrayed and also shown, etc., as the same in a number of forums. Then also in the Silicon Valley in June this year, Applied Materials signed an MOU with the Small and Medium Business Administration, SMBA, and the Korea Venture Investment Corporation, KVIC. The purpose of this MOU is to raise a fund of approximately 26 million US dollar for investment into the South Korean venture firms and the SMEs. And this fund is going to be managed by the Applied Ventures. Applied Ventures is the corporate venture capital arm of Applied Materials. Then one of the very interesting things of Applied Materials is the moving into adjacencies, by which it is continuously trying to increase its addressable market. And this is one facet which I find very interesting, and this is where Applied Materials, I think, is making a very good foray into. I cite here a couple of examples into these adjacent markets of Applied Materials. One of them is going into additive manufacturing, using its material enhancement capability. And one of the startups into which Applied Ventures has put its money into is called Norsk Titanium. Norsk Titanium is a metal additive manufacturer. It has a patented technology, RPD, which stands for the Rapid Plasma Deposition Process. Now, this process transforms the titanium wire into complex components which are suitable for the structural and safety critical applications. And these applications span the aerospace, defense, and commercial applications. And we see the leveraging of Applied's materials engineering and the process management with Norsk's unique titanium capability and its RPD technology. The other example which I cite here is in the space of biotechnology. And one company, there are a couple of companies into which Applied Ventures has put its money into in the space. This is Twist Bioscience and Oncoscope. But let me just put a little bit of a highlight on the Twist Bioscience at the moment. Twist Bioscience is in the business of manufacturing synthetic DNA. Now, synthetic DNA is used in a number of applications like personalized medicines, pharma sustainable chemical production, diagnostics, biodetection, etc. However, the traditional process, which is based on some 96 well plastic plates, this traditional process is very time consuming. It is slow and it is prone to errors, with the result that its end application of personalized medicines and others, etc., they itself will take a lot of time, and this thing has never picked up on a large scale. However, what Twist Bioscience has done is that it is going into a synthetic silicon-based DNA, and that is where Applied Materials has come into the picture. Now, this silicon-based synthetic DNA manufacturing uses around a 10,000 well silicon platform instead of the traditional 96 well plastic one. And this solution is more cost effective and it has got a high throughput production, which in turn expedites the cycle time of this personalized medicines and other applications. And one of the very interesting applications of synthetic DNA is to use DNA as a storage element. The DNA can actually stay totally intact and readable for as long as 10,000 years. And once the technology is honed and it becomes better, the DNA can actually store a large amount of data. And Twist Bioscience has also recently acquired a company called the Genome Compiler Corporation. And together, they are going towards putting together an e-commerce solution with gene design capabilities. So imagine what kind of avenues all this gene, a synthetic gene, is going to open up once it becomes more, let's say, commercially viable. However, let me point out one particular aspect out here, which is that Twist Bioscience presently does not license its technology. It just sells the DNA samples. So, which basically means that whatever equipment which is going to be used to manufacture the synthetic DNA is the equipment which is going to be there in the Twist premises. So there is just one single vendor which will have these machines. So, well, this could be taken up as to the sales, etc. But this is one aspect of venturing into adjacency by the applied materials. An interesting space of biotechnology for applied materials. A good space to watch out for. When we're talking about applied ventures, just let me give you a couple of slides on this too. The investment areas, the focus areas into which applied ventures is investing into is threefold. One of them is on advanced materials, display technologies, data storage, medical diagnostic and technologies, etc., solid state lighting. The second one is on the process advancements, on advanced packaging, advanced patterning, metrology, inspection, etc. And the third one is on the sustainability and the conservation, so emission reduction, energy efficiency, etc. And this applied venture, it invests up to $50 million annually, with each round taking around $500,000 to $3 million. The fund is globally invested, and applied venture also co-invests. And the next slide shows us a few startups into which Applied Ventures has put its money into, and a look into these startups and the technologies that they have come up with can give you an insight into the strategic direction of Applied Ventures. So you see here things like you have North Titanium and the Twist Bioscience and Oncoscope, which I've spoken about. You have your semiconductor test engineering Dissolve. You have your test solutions advanced inquiry systems. Then you also have for the clean tech MTPV. Semprius is there for printing high performance single crystal semiconductor on any substrate. There's an interesting one on the non-intrusive cargo screening, a company called Passport Systems. Then optical networking, switches, some materials, bioscience, biotechnology, semiconductor, test engineering, superconducting wires. There is a complete mix of these startups out here. So with this, I hope you have found these data sets which I have shared here. I hope you found them interesting and useful. And in case you would like to have some more details, or would like to have your own customized market research and analysis, or a technology research and analysis done, do let me know. I'll be keen to hear about the same. And to help you in that decision, I share with you here a brief snapshot on my profile, as well as my skill set with some proof points. I do hope I'll hear from you. And here are my contact details. You can reach me on email by writing to me at meenu@asic-vlsi.com. And I hope you found this useful, and I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.